So I tried something with the tracks on them. If I did it the way the instructions said, they're not going to be able to be flexed. So I've got this, which is great. To get that, I cut out these inner pins. So I just snipped them out, and then the track still goes together as normal, and then they push in to the other one and they still click in, and some of them might be a bit loose, but it's better than having stiff tracks. So whether you want to try that if you're building it. This is one of the exhausts. There's two exhausts on the tank. Just using Mr. Surfacer 500 and a really old Tamiya brush. I'm just adding texture to it to make it look like it's pitted metal. So when I paint it up and weather it, it'll look well, yeah, like it's starting to rust and whatnot. So I'm just going to do that all over it, except the bracket mounts. Alright, so tracks are finally done. Flexible, like I showed, removing those center pins. Got the exhausts in. They plugged in the sides, but they go in first before you put the rear plate on, because they come out through the rear plate, obviously. Couple of things I noticed. Like here, they've got rivet heads on this steel plate, but they don't go up to the whole piece, which doesn't seem to make sense to me, but so I'll probably add the rivet heads in. Some places will be adding weld, some places seem to be riveted, some places seem to be weld. I've done got the turrets together. I've replaced plastic grab handles with lead wire so you can bend them, make them look a bit banged up, used. It's on the back doors, the little hatch doors on top. I'm putting the figure, I'll paint him up to add to it to show scale. So the doors will be open on that one, and then the two front turrets. Same with these, I'll be adding weld to the side plates on them ones, and the rear turret, which is the machine guns. On the machine guns I cut the plastic barrels off, drilled holes, and I put in some brass tube. And this one, the big main turret, is riveted plate on top, but the sides I'll add weld. So it's a bit of a mishmash how the tank was put together by the looks of it. And same here, you got rivets part of the way around, but not all the way around, so I'll probably add them in as well. So that'll be a bit of a long process doing what I want to do to it, but we're getting there. So a mock up with the turrets in. Big unit. So we continue on. This is how I'm doing the raised rivets. It's a RP Tools rivet set. This particular set is domed, so the point, you aren't going to see it, and it's domed, so when I bang it, punch it through, it domes a plastic 0.1mm plastic card, and you just keep working around. Just punch them through. 0.7 is, I compared it to what's on the model, and you just keep working them around the plastic card, punching out. I just do a bit at a time. It's a pretty laborious task. And then I've just a bit of Tamiya tape just as a guide with pencils to where I'm putting them. Yeah, you can. That's not working. There we go, eventually. A bit of overkill with the glue there, but that's a big job, obviously, going around all that. But I'll just quickly show how I'm doing it so you know. That's those few done down there. I ended up using a wax pencil to pick them up with. That one, the sticky's wearing off a bit, so I just used the wax pencil with a bit of glue, extra thin, and just dab it on when the rivet's in place. And if you have to slide it, just I use needle nose pliers to move them around. I'll be adding texture to the steel too when I finish doing all the riveting. Alright, so where I want to add weld, I want to channel it out more so it's got a bit of bite when I put it in there. Tamiya P-scriber, and just keep working it, careful. So I can go that way with a P-scriber, and I've got this, it's like a triangle nosed chisel. You can also get in there and be careful with this one because it jumps out easy. Until you're happy with the depth, but careful of this one if you're using that sort of thing, because I've jumped out already. I have to sand and clean that up. Alright, making the weld. I'm using AK's Green Power, so it's 2-part epoxy putty. There's heaps of brands, use whatever you like. Break off what you want, keep mixing it together, and then roll it up into a worm. I got a bit of water on plastic card and I just keep rolling it. Keep making it thinner, so you got to keep going until you get it. I need thin because I've got very small weld gaps, or between the plate where I want the weld. So and the water also stops it sticking because it likes sticking. Alright, yeah, we're getting the gist of it. And toothpick. And eventually. Alright, and then you're rolling it into the groove, which you can see there what happens when it's not wet enough. So if you keep it wet, and so on and so forth, just to quicken the process up so I don't bore you to death. And then I've made a homemade bit of a tool to press in the weld, but I've got to clean that up more yet, but I'll show you when I'm done because it's going to take a while. Alright, so that's that section done. It's a long process, but the effort's worth it. That's what it'll look like without anything. And with the welds in, once you've given it primer and painted up, it makes a world of difference.